When my daughter showed me her secret wedding invitation, I collapsed into tears of joy. Days later, I was standing in a police station filing charges against her fiancé. That's when I realized life doesn't give you lemons. It hurls them at you like grenades with the pins already pulled. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and tell me where you're from. Because trust me, this story twists more than a roller coaster built by a madman. I never imagined I'd be sitting alone in a church pew, drowning in emotions I didn't know I could still feel. The grand altar draped in white lilies was bathed in colored light from the stained glass windows. Whispers from the guests echoed off the walls as they waited for the ceremony to begin. This was my daughter Alice's secret wedding day, and everything seemed perfect until that moment, the moment my wedding gift would unleash hell. Alice had always been my shining star. Since her father walked out on us 15 years ago, I'd done everything to shield her from life's cruelties. When she told me about Ethan, her mysterious fiancé, I felt both cautious and hopeful. The sudden announcement of their wedding caught me off guard, but seeing her happiness, how could I object? "Mom, we're keeping it small. Just close friends and family," she'd said, her eyes sparkling with that familiar determination she'd inherited from me. So there I sat, clutching my gift, our family Bible, passed down through 5 generations. My mother had given it to me on my wedding day, and though my marriage had crashed and burned, the tradition felt important to preserve. "Mr. Reynolds." A young usher approached. "They're ready for you to present your gift before the ceremony." I nodded, my heart pounding as I walked toward the small table near the altar. The church fell silent as I carefully placed the Bible down and opened it to reveal the inscription I'd added for Alice and Ethan. That's when the envelope fell out. I hadn't put it there. It was yellowed with age, tucked between pages I hadn't thought to check. With trembling fingers and suddenly aware of the crowd watching, I picked it up. "Mom." Alice's voice called from the entrance where she waited to make her entrance. "Is everything okay?" I should have smiled. I should have nodded. Instead, some instinct made me open that envelope. Script part separator, Inside were photos. Not just any photos, but images that showed Ethan in compromising situations, with another woman. Another family. Children who called him Daddy. I felt the blood drain from my face as the church grew deathly quiet. "Mom." Alice's voice was closer now. She'd abandoned her entrance position, rushing toward me in her wedding gown, concern etched across her face. I couldn't speak. My hands shook so violently the photos scattered across the altar table. Ethan's mother gasped. His father cursed under his breath. And then I heard him, Ethan himself, rushing up the aisle. "What's going on?" he demanded, his voice carrying that charm that had fooled us all. Then he saw the photos, and his face transformed into something I'd never seen before. The mask slipped, revealing the stranger beneath. "Where did you get those?" he hissed, lunging for the pictures. Alice reached us, her wedding dress rustling like a warning. "What is it? What's wrong?" Then she saw. One by one, she picked up the photos, her fingers trembling worse than mine. "Ethan, who are they?" "It's not what it looks like," he stammered, the oldest lie in the book. The woman in the photos looked so much like Alice, younger, perhaps more vulnerable. There were 3 children, all with Ethan's eyes. In one photo, dated just 2 weeks ago, they stood in front of a suburban home, the Petersons carved into a wooden mailbox. "Peterson," Alice whispered. "Your last name is Williams." The church erupted in confused murmurs. Alice's best friend Maya rushed forward, putting a protective arm around her. "I can explain," Ethan insisted, but the panic in his eyes told us all we needed to know. That's when I found my voice. "The ceremony is cancelled," I announced, surprising myself with my steadiness. "Everyone please go home. Script part separator, Ethan grabbed my arm. "Helen, please. Those photos are old. From before I met Alice." I yanked away from him. "Then why does the date stamp show last month? And who exactly is Mrs. Peterson?" Alice stood frozen, her wedding dress suddenly looking like a cruel joke. Her makeup, so carefully applied hours earlier, streaked down her cheeks. "You told me you were an only child," she whispered, staring at a photo of Ethan with the children. "You said your parents died in a car accident when you were in college." "His parents very much alive," shifted uncomfortably in the front pew. The church had become a theater of the absurd. Guests whispered frantically while Ethan's face contorted between panic and calculation. I recognized that look. Her father had worn it when I discovered his affairs. "We need to talk privately," Ethan insisted, reaching for Alice. Maya stepped between them. "Don't touch her." That's when Alice's voice cut through everything, quiet but devastating. "How many lies have you told me?" Ethan's silence was damning. I gathered the photos with shaking hands. "Everyone out now." My teacher voice, the one I'd used for 30 years before retirement, still worked. People began filing out, their expressions a mix of shock and that peculiar excitement people get from witnessing others' misfortunes. Alice collapsed onto a pew, her wedding dress pooling around her like spilled milk. "I'll call the police," Maya whispered to me. "No," Ethan snapped. "This is a misunderstanding." "Alice, baby, please. When were you going to tell me?" Alice asked. "After we were married. After I was pregnant." "Never." His silence told us everything. That night, Alice cried in her childhood bedroom while I sat outside her door, listening to her heart break. The dress that had cost 3 months of my pension hung like a ghost in the corner. I didn't sleep. Instead, I spread the photos across my kitchen table and studied them under the harsh light. The woman. The children. The house. The dates. By morning, I knew what I had to do. Script part separator ===. I called in sick to the school where I worked part-time since retirement. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to the address visible in one of the photos. The Peterson household sat in a quiet suburb 40 minutes from our town. A bicycle lay on its side in the front yard. Wind chimes tinkled from the porch. It looked like the American dream, the same dream Ethan had promised my daughter. For 20 minutes, I sat in my car, rehearsing what to say. Then the front door opened, and she appeared, the woman from the photos. Younger than me by at least 15 years, pretty in an understated way, with a toddler balanced on her hip. My hands shook as I approached the walkway. "Can I help you?" she asked, bouncing the fussing child. "I'm looking for Ethan," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Her smile was immediate and trusting. "He's at work. Should be home around 6. Are you from the hospital?" "Hospital." Another lie. "I'm Helen," I said simply. "Alice's mother." Her forehead creased. "I'm sorry, who?" That's when I knew. She had no idea either. "May I come in, Mrs. Peterson? I think we have a lot to discuss." Her name was Sarah. The children were Emma, 7, Jack, 5, and little Lily, 2. Ethan had told her he was a hospital administrator. Told us he was an investment banker. "He's been my husband for 8 years, she whispered, shock painting her features as I showed her the wedding invitation. "This can't be right." I felt sick. "He was supposed to marry my daughter yesterday." Sarah's hands trembled as she called his office. "He's not there," she said, hanging up. "They said he's on vacation this week. For our anniversary trip to Bermuda." The same week he'd planned a honeymoon with Alice in Bermuda. Sarah's face hardened. "I'm calling the police." While she made the call, I texted Maya, *find Alice. "Don't let her near Ethan. Going to police now. The responding officer looked too young to buy beer. "Technically, ma'am, since they weren't legally married, this isn't exactly a crime." "Fraud," I interrupted. "Identity theft. Possible bigamy." "We'll need more evidence," he said, but took our statements anyway. That's when Sarah's phone chimed with a text. Her face went white. "He knows," she whispered, showing me the screen. On my way home. "We need to talk about Helen." Script part separator The police officer straightened immediately. "He's coming here. Now." Sarah nodded, clutching little Lily closer to her chest. "What do we do?" "We set a trap," I said, surprising myself with my sudden clarity. "Officer, can you wait somewhere out of sight?" Within 20 minutes, a silver BMW pulled into the driveway. I recognized it immediately, the car Ethan had shown Alice pictures of, claiming it was his company vehicle. My heart hammered against my ribs as I watched him through the window, straightening his tie before approaching the house. The door opened. Ethan stepped inside, his practiced smile freezing when he saw me sitting in his living room. "Helen," he whispered, face draining of color. "What are you doing here?" Sarah stepped forward. "That's what I'd like to know, Ethan. Or should I call you something else? Do you even have a real name?" I'd never seen someone physically deflate before. His shoulders sagged, his confident posture crumbled, and suddenly, Ethan Williams, or Peterson, or whoever he was, looked small. "I can explain," he began, the same words he'd used in the church. "To which one of us?" I asked coldly. The young officer emerged from the kitchen then, and Ethan's eyes widened with panic. He bolted for the door, but the officer was faster, catching him on the porch in full view of curious neighbors. As they handcuffed him, I found myself cataloging all the questions we still needed answers to. Where did our money go? The $30,000 Alice had saved for their house down payment? The jewelry that had gone missing from my bedroom last month? Was anything he'd told either of us true? That evening, sitting in the police station filing formal charges, I felt strangely hollow. The detective across from me slid a folder across the desk. "We've identified at least 3 other women," he said quietly. "This isn't his first scam." I opened the folder and stared at faces of women who had loved and trusted him. Just like my Alice. Just like Sarah. Script part separator, My hands shook as I thumbed through the folder. Besides Sarah and Alice, there were 3 other women whose lives Ethan had infiltrated. Jennifer em Boston, Melissa em Chicago, Andy Diane em Seattle. Different names, different stories, same predator. He typically targets single mothers or women with some inheritance coming, the detective explained. Gets them to invest in fake business ventures, takes loans in their names, then disappears. But Sarah, they have children together, I whispered. DNA tests will confirm, but we suspect they're not his biological children. The oldest was already born when he met Sarah. I felt sick. My daughter almost married him yesterday. You stopped that from happening. That's something to be proud of, he said, sliding me a cup of lukewarm coffee. On the drive home, I tried calling Alice 5 times. She didn't answer. Panic rising, I called Maya. She's with me, Maya suited me. But Helen, she's not good. She found his laptop and started going through it. What did she find? Everything. Account numbers. Fake IDs. Pictures of other women. Maya lowered her voice. Helen, he emptied her savings account yesterday morning. All $30,000 is gone. The road blurred through my tears. I'm coming over. I found Alice curled on Maya's couch, surrounded by printouts. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her wedding manicure chipped from nervous picking. Mom, she croaked, her voice raw. He has our house money. The deposit for the venue. Even Grandma's diamond that I was going to wear today. I sat beside her, pulling her head against my shoulder like I used to when she was small. We'll get it back, sweetheart. Every penny. How? She sobbed. I stroked her hair, my mind already racing with the next steps. Fast, we freeze your credit. Then we call a lawyer. After that, I picked up one of Ethan's fake business cards. We find every person he's ever scammed and build a case that puts him away for decades. Script part separator, Alice looked up at me, her eyes puffy but suddenly focused. You're going after him. It wasn't a question. She knew me too well. The next morning, I was at the bank when it opened, speaking with the fraud department. By noon, I'd filed emergency petitions to freeze all of Alice's accounts. By 3, I was sitting across from Bernard Kopelman, an attorney who specialized in fraud cases. Mrs. Reynolds, this is going to be complicated, he warned, scanning the documents I'd brought. This man operates under at least 5 different identities that we know of. Then we'll find all 5, I said firmly. How soon can we get a court date? Kopelman's eyebrows rose. First, we need to locate any assets he hasn't hidden yet. That takes investigation. How much? His fee was eye-watering, $5,000 retainer to start. Money I didn't have, Not since I'd used my retirement fund to help Alice with what I thought would be her dream wedding. I can put my house up, I heard myself saying. Mom, no. Alice had insisted on coming with me. Eu quente risque o home. The lawyer studied us both. There might be another option. If we can find his other victims, pool resources. I pulled out the folder the detective had given me. I know where to start. That night, Alice and I created a war room in my dining room. Photos, timelines, and sticky notes covered the walls. Maya brought over her laptop and started deep diving into Ethan's digital footprint. Look at this, she called around midnight, her voice tight with excitement. 3 months ago, he transferred $50,000 to an offshore account in the Caymans. Alice leaned over her shoulder. That's more than he took from me. That's when my phone rang. Sarah Peterson. He's been released on bail, she said without preamble. And Helen, he's coming for the evidence. Script part separator, I threw the phone down like it had burned me. He's out. Alice's face went pale. Already. But the detective said. Maya was already grabbing her keys. We need to get this stuff somewhere safe. I shoved the most crucial documents into my tote bag. The photos, the financial records, the copies of fake IDs. Where can we go? My cousin's cabin, Maya suggested. It's an hour north. No one would look for us there. We were halfway out the door when headlights swept across the front window. A silver BMW pulled up to the curb. Go out the back, I whispered, pushing Alice toward the kitchen. Maya, take her. Mom, no. I grabbed my daughter's shoulders. Listen to me. He wants these documents more than anything. I'll distract him while you get away. The doorbell rang, followed by pounding. Helen, I know you're in there. Go. I hissed, shoving them toward the back door. Call the police once you're clear. As they slipped into the darkness of the backyard, I took a deep breath and opened the front door, blocking the entrance with my body. Ethan stood there, not looking nearly as disheveled as a man who'd just spent time in jail should. His eyes were cold, calculating. Where is it, Helen? He demanded, trying to peer around me. Where's what, Ethan? Or is it Michael? James. I'm not sure what to call you anymore. His smile was chilling. You think you're clever, don't you? Turning Sarah against me. Filling Alice's head with lies. The photos don't lie, I said evenly, praying that Alice and Maya had made it to the car. Neither do the bank statements. He stepped closer, forcing me to back into my own foyer. I want what you took from the police station. My heart hammered. The detective had given me copies, not originals. Ethan couldn't know that. Script part separator, I want my daughter's money back, I countered, standing my ground even as fear climbed up my throat. He laughed, a hollow sound that echoed in my foyer. That money's long gone, Helen. Invested in my future. You mean your next victim's future, I said, backing toward the dining room where our evidence wall was still visible. I needed to keep him talking until Alice and Maya were safely away. His eyes darted around, landing on the wall of evidence. His face darkened. You've been busy. In the distance, I heard sirens. Relief washed through me. Maya must have called the police from the car. Ethan heard them too. His expression shifted from confident to cornered. You have no idea who you're dealing with, he snarled, lunging toward the dining room. I blocked his path. The police have everything they need. It's over. He grabbed my arm, fingered Savage, interrupted the officer. Mr. Peterson, or should I say Mr. Williams, you're in violation of your bail conditions. As they handcuffed him, Ethan's eyes locked with mine. This isn't over, he mouthed. Once he was gone, I collapsed onto my couch, shaking. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. Asterisk safe at the cabin. Is he gone? Asterisk. I typed back. Asterisk police took him. Coming to you now. Asterisk. Script part separator, Grabbing my emergency bag and the wall of evidence we'd created, I drove north with my heart hammering against my ribs. The cabin was tucked deep in the woods, its windows glowing warmly in the darkness. Alice rushed out when she heard my car. Mom, are you okay? Did he hurt you? I hugged her tightly. I'm fine. But we can't go home for a while. That night, we spread our evidence across the cabin's rustic dining table while rain lashed against the windows. Maya's laptop became our lifeline as we dug deeper into Ethan's web of lies. Look at this, Maya said, turning the screen toward us. He's been doing this for at least 15 years. The oldest victim we found was a widow in Florida, Beatrice Chambers, who'd lost $120,000 to a charming investment advisor named Michael Grant. Same man, different name. We need to contact all of them, Alice said, her voice stronger than I'd heard since the wedding disaster. Every single woman. By morning, we'd created a victims group chat. 5 women, spanning 15 years of Ethan's predatory career. Each with a different story, different losses, but the same broken trust. 2 days later, Bernard Kopelman arrived at the cabin with news. The DA is interested in pursuing a larger case. With multiple victims across state lines, this becomes federal. My cell phone rang. Sarah Peterson. I found something, she said, her voice tight with emotion. Documents indéatic. Looks like he has a storage unit in Oak Ridge. Under yet another name. The storage unit became our focus. What was he hiding there? More evidence of his crimes? The money he'd stolen? Kopelman advised caution. Let the authorities handle this. The FBI is getting involved. But Alice shook her head, a determination in her eyes I recognized from my own mirror. We're not waiting. That unit might have my inheritance from Grandma. The diamond he stole. I knew that look. There was no stopping her. Fine, I said. But we do this smart. We need a plan. Script part separator, equals. We couldn't just break into a storage unit, that would make us criminals too. Instead, Sarah used her legal right as Ethan's wife to access the unit information. The facility manager was reluctant until Kopelman made a call. The following morning, Sarah, Alice, and I stood before unit number 237, the manager unlocking it with visible discomfort. Just so we're clear, he muttered, I'm only doing this because the lady has legal rights as his spouse. The metal door rolled up to reveal what looked like a life in boxes. Furniture. Filing cabinets. Plastic containers labeled by year. My God, Sarah whispered. There's enough stuff here for 3 lifetimes. We started with the filing cabinets. Birth certificates, all with different names but the same birth date. Passports. Social security cards. Marriage licenses. Alice Gasped, holding up a small velvet box. Inside was her grandmother's diamond ring, the one Ethan had borrowed to be sized for the wedding. He was never going to give this back, she whispered. In a locked drawer, we found bank statements for accounts in the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, and Panama. The balances made my heart stop, over $2 million. Look at this, Sarah called from behind a stack of boxes. She held up a leather-bound journal. It's like a playbook. Step-by-step instructions on how to con women. The journal was chilling, detailed notes on how to identify vulnerable targets, gain their trust, and extract maximum value before disappearing. There were even crude ratings of his victims and notes on what had worked best with each woman. I called Kopelman immediately. We've hit the jackpot. This isn't just evidence of theft. It's proof of methodical, premeditated fraud across multiple states. Don't touch anything else, he warned. I'm calling the FBI right now. Within an hour, federal agents swarmed the storage facility. We watched from the parking lot as they cataloged and removed box after box of evidence. Will this be enough? Alice asked, her voice small despite our discovery. I squeezed her hand. More than enough. That night, as we drove back to the cabin, Sarah received a text from an unknown number. You'll regret this. Ethan had found out. Script part separator, The morning after our storage unit discovery, I woke to pounding on the cabin door. I grabbed the baseball bat we'd kept near the bed and crept toward the noise. Through the peephole, I saw not Ethan, but a disheveled woman I didn't recognize. Who is it? Alice called from the bedroom. I opened the door cautiously, keeping the bat visible. Can I help you? Are you willing? The woman's eyes were red-rimmed, her hands shaking. I'm Melissa. From Chicago. one of Ethan's other victims from the file. She'd driven through the night after getting our message. He took everything, she explained, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee at our kitchen table. My mother's inheritance. My daughter's college fund. Then he disappeared 3 years ago. By afternoon, Jennifer from Boston had also arrived. The cabin became command central for what the FBI agent now called Operation Romeo. The prosecutor is building a RICO case, Agent Torres explained during our conference call. Organized criminal enterprise across state lines. We're talking 20 to 30 years if we get him on all counts. If. Alice challenged. When. Torres corrected. With what you ladies found in that storage unit, it's no longer a question of if, but when. That evening, as we strategized around the dining table, Sarah's phone rang. She answered on speaker. Hello, darling. Ethan's voice filled the room, sending ice through my veins. Enjoying your little slumber party with my other disappointments? Sarah's hand trembled. How did you make by you again? His laugh was cold. Money opens doors, sweetheart. And I have plenty your FBI friends haven't found yet. What do you want? I demanded. Helen. So good to hear your voice. Tell Alice I miss her. Alice flinched. You have 24 hours to return everything from my storage unit, or I release certain videos that none of you want public. Especially you, Jennifer. Jennifer went pale. He recorded us. The line went dead. He's bluffing, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. No, Jennifer whispered. He's not. Script part separator, He's threatening to release intimate videos, Agent Torres confirmed when we called her. It's a common tactic with romance scammers. But is it legal to use those against him if he obtained them under false pretenses? I asked. Torres sighed. The videos themselves aren't evidence of crime. They're leverage, which is why he's using them. We can't give in to blackmail, Sarah insisted, though Jennifer looked ready to collapse. That night, none of us slept. The 24-hour deadline loomed like a guillotine. At dawn, I made a decision. I'm going to meet him, I announced over breakfast. Ma'am, no. Alice grabbed my arm. He's dangerous. I've thought it through. He wants those documents because they prove his crimes. Without them, the case weakens significantly. Let the FBI handle this, Maya urged. I shook my head. Torres said they're still building their case. But Ethan will release those videos today unless someone stalls him. After heated debate, we developed a plan. I would meet Ethan at a public cafe, wearing a wire provided by Agent Torres. I'd bring photocopies of some documents, nothing that would damage the case, but enough to make him think I was cooperating. At exactly noon, I sat at an outdoor table, my heart hammering so loudly I feared the wire would pick it up. I'd insisted on coming alone, though I knew Torres had plainly clothed agents nearby. When Ethan slid into the chair across from me, he looked nothing like the charming man who'd almost become my son-in-law. His eyes were hard, calculating. Helen, he smiled thinly. So good of you to come. Did you bring what I asked for? I placed a manila envelope on the table. Some of it. As a show of good faith. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Always the protective mother hen. Tell me, who put those photos in your Bible? That caught me off guard. You still don't know? He reached for the envelope, but I pulled it back. First, tell me about Beatrice Chambers in Florida. His eyebrow raised slightly. The name means nothing to me. The widow whose retirement fund you stole 15 years ago. Your first victim, as far as we can tell. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, then calculation. You've been busy. So have you. 5 identities, 7 known victims, over $2 million hidden in offshore accounts. He leaned forward. You have no idea what you're involved in, Helen. This is bigger than you think. Enlighten me. He glanced around, then lowered his voice. I work for people who don't appreciate loose ends. Return everything, and maybe we all walk away from this. Criminals often have partners, Ethan. The FBI is very interested in yours. His face hardened. The FBI doesn't know what they're dealing with. Neither do you. I pushed the envelope toward him. This is all you get until the videos are destroyed. All copies. Our eyes locked in silent battle. Finally, he took the envelope and rifled through its contents, his expression darkening. This is nothing. Where are the account numbers? De passports. Safe. Like Jennifer's reputation will be once you hand over the videos. His laugh was cold. You think this is about sex tapes? He pulled out his phone, turning it to show me a video that made my blood freeze, surveillance footage of my house. Of Alice entering it yesterday to collect clothes. You're not the only one who can set traps, Helen. The cafe suddenly felt very small. You've been watching us. Did you really think I'd leave anything to chance? I know where you're all hiding. I know about the cabin. Bring me everything by midnight, or your precious daughter will regret it. As he walked away, Agent Torres's voice came through my earpiece. We got it all. Officers are moving to arrest him now. But Ethan had vanished into the crowd. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Ethan's network unraveled as 17 victims came forward. When the judge sentenced him to 28 years, Alice squeezed my hand. It's over, she whispered. But I knew better. Life's battles never truly end, they just transform us. 6 months later, I watched Alice mentor other scam survivors at our support foundation. Our family Bible sat open on my desk, its pages holding not just our history, but our resilience. Sometimes, the most devastating betrayals lead us to our greatest purpose. And sometimes, a mother's instinct to protect becomes a movement that protects thousands. As I sealed another newsletter for our growing network of survivors, I smiled. Ethan thought he was destroying lives. Instead, he created an army of women too strong to be broken. The most powerful force isn't deception or greed. It's truth, carried forward by those brave enough to speak it.